The greater Hazleton area continues to mourn the loss of a dear friend, a colleague of ours as well, L.A. Tarone, who lost his battle with cancer earlier this week. He was also involved in the history of this community, writing a book about it, and also very involved in the Greater Hazleton Historical Society and Museum. L.A., a former board member. Charles McElwee, our historian here at SSPTV, each week bringing you history segments. Charles, you told me, I mean, you're a member of the board of directors for the Greater Hazleton Historical Society and Museum, that I guess L.A. was kind of a role model for you and getting you involved in all of this as well.
Right, so going back, we're talking years now. I remember when I would visit my grandmother on South Laurel Street, and I was in high school. I grew up in Hershey, and when I would visit, she would have the newspaper stacked, and I always loved his columns. And I love music, and I always appreciated his columns on obscure music, history. And it was in high school when he came out with, when I was in high school, he came out with his book, We Were Here Once. I ended up conducting my undergraduate thesis at Lebanon Valley College on the demographic, economic, and cultural history of Hazleton. So that was my senior thesis. And I remember I had contacted L.A. Tarone when he was at WYLN, and he was very gracious and agreed to meet with me, and I interviewed him. It was a wide-ranging, long interview, and he provided enough material to really play an important role in the research that I compiled for the paper. And I actually remember you that night. We didn't know each other yet, but here we are. I mean, in many ways, he played an indirect role to us sitting here talking about the history of Hazleton. And really, that undergraduate thesis turned into my getting very involved in the community and eventually my relocation here and working here. So L.A. Tarone, you know, I think the ongoing theme of this whole week as we mourn his passing is his impact on so many people in the Hazleton region.
Absolutely. And I know you told me that he was very involved in the Historical Society. He did lectures, and I mean, everybody loved to hear him talk because he was an excellent storyteller.
Right, he always came prepared with voluminous slides and would give PowerPoint presentations on the history of Hazleton, and they were candid presentations. He loved Hazleton, but he also did not bury the darker past of Hazleton. And whether it was his book or what he talked about as a presenter, as a board member at the Historical Society, he reminded us of what was lost, whether it was the redevelopment project of the South Side in the 1960s and 1970s. He really highlighted the impact that made on the city, and it was not a good one. And really, those conversations sparked, I guess, a reevaluation of our past and what we do today, what the impact it could have. And I think he did promote the sense of preservation in the community to appreciate, cherish, and restore our architectural and cultural history. And as a Historical Society board member, whether it was his lectures or his just presence at our open houses, he was an invaluable asset, and we will miss him.
Absolutely. And you told us, too, there is a copy of his book at the Historical Society. So if anybody wanted to check that out, they could see his book that he actually wrote.
Yes, so there is a copy of We Were Here Once at the museum. And really, that was one of our most requested items at the museum. They always asked, do you have the L.A. Tarone book? And I think we composed a post and tribute to L.A. on Facebook this week, and we ended it with just knowing that we should all take comfort in knowing one thing, and that was he was here once. And certainly, the world and Hazleton is better for it.
Excellent, excellent. Very well said. That is so true. L.A. Tarone will live on in the hearts of all of us who knew him, loved him, enjoyed working with him. He will never be forgotten. And if you'd like to go check out the book, The Greater Hazleton Historical Society and Museum. And we're going to be telling you more. They have a new website. Charles will be back to talk about that, but today we just wanted to focus on LA. So our prayers are with his family, and we know he is still looking down, making sure that we all appreciate the history that we have.